Recording. Good morning and welcome to Norcal APEX Accelerator's introductory webinar, How to Do Business with the Government. We put on this introductory training every month to help folks just like you who may be a little bit curious about government contracting, but don't quite know where to start or who can help. And that's exactly what we're going to explore in today's event. My name is Amanda Anderson. I am the program coordinator for Norcal APEX Accelerator. And today I'm joined by our fantastic procurement specialist, Liz Brazil. But before I hand over the presentation to Liz, I do want to let you know a little bit about APEX Accelerators and how we can help you in government contracting. So APEX Accelerators is a federally funded nationwide program that the government allows grant funding for to help businesses just like you, no matter how big or how small, to help educate them on how to do business with the government. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of hoops to jump through, and it can be a very daunting task. Now, APEX Accelerators have been recently going through a name change. We were formerly known as Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, or PTAC. So if you're more familiar with the PTAC program, it's still us. We're still here, same services, same great service area, just a slightly different name. And the APEX Accelerator program has 96 centers nationwide. So even if you may not be within California, maybe not within our specific California service area, you can still find no cost help with government contracting as long as you're in the United States. And as a little feather in our caps, the APEX Accelerator program has served over 56,000 clients in the federal year 2021. And that resulted in over $24 billion in government contracts for businesses just like yours. Now, a little bit more about Norcal APEX Accelerator, which is our local center to Northern California. We have all the same requirements as the nationwide program. We give no-cost government contracting assistance through three main pillars. Our one-on-one counseling, where you can sign up for our services and meet one-on-one with a counselor, just like Liz Brazil or many of the other fantastic procurement specialists we have on team. And they can help you with specific processes, paperwork, game planning for your business, one-on-one. And another perk of meeting with a counselor is that they can help sign you up for our custom bid matching. Now, our custom bid matching is a service that's paid on our end that we offer to our clients at absolutely no charge. And this service scrapes the entire internet and all of the various procurement sites from federal to state to local agencies. And they find solicitations that your business may be interested in based on a set of criteria that you and your counselor can figure out. That way you're getting government contracting opportunities directly to your inbox, which is a huge boon to our clients. Part of the challenge in government contracting is finding viable solicitations to submit proposals for. And this custom bid matching is an immense help with it. And thirdly, our most popular pillar of assistance is all of our resources and trainings, which you're actually taking advantage of right now. We put on a ton of free webinars, as well as getting back to in-person events this year. And those are open to anyone, whether you're in our service area or maybe outside of our service area in Southern California or even Nevada or even Texas. We've had a ton of folks nationwide attend our webinars. And honestly, it's immensely, it's great to see everyone enjoying our webinars and these resources. And you can find so many more webinars and resources and checklists and anything you can think that you would need to help on your government procurement journey on our website. So I want to go into a little bit about all of the different services that we can help with, such as SAM registration, such as helping you get your women-owned certification or veteran-owned certification. We can help you do market research to see what government agencies are buying your product or service. And we can even help you build out your proposal, review it, submit it, and take it a step further and help you make sure that as you are working on a contract, you're staying compliant with all of the requirements of that contract. From beginning to end, we are no cost assistance for government contracting in its entirety. Some things that we cannot help with are things that are just general business topics, like helping you set up a payroll system, helping you figure out your HR processes, things of that nature that aren't quite related to government contracting aren't things that our counselors can help with. But we do have partner resources that we can refer you to if you are looking for that kind of assistance. And just one last thing before I hand it over to Liz, I wanted to let you know, if you're familiar with us, we did just redesign our website. Looking a little bit different now, but as long as you see that Norcal APEX Accelerator logo in the left and the big Apply Now button in the right, you should be in the right place. And you can find all of our resources, trainings, and apply for services if you're in our service area from here. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Liz.
Well, good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Today's webinar topic is government contracting. When the term government contracting is used, it's often referred to doing business with any level of government, whether it's federal, state, county, city, tribal, special district, school district, and so on. This webinar is designed to provide you with an overview of the unique advantages of government contracting. Learn to be ready to work with a government agency and understand the funding sources that dictates the procurement processes. This webinar will cover many of the critical aspects needed before you start approaching these government agencies. Marketing to government agency provides a tremendous opportunity for small businesses. In order for small businesses to succeed, you must understand the specific needs of the agency and be prepared to offer a sensible and cost-effective solutions. Learn about your prospects and determine if you have the capacity and resource to help deliver projects and programs. There are many areas of contracting involving purchasing, professional services, public works, and so on. Learn to find contracting opportunities. My biggest takeaway for you is to learn the basics of doing business with government agencies. Big journeys start with small steps. In my 35 years of experience, it provided me with a firsthand experience how a small businesses can grow into a multi-million-dollar business. So with that, let's get started by reading this disclosure. The information provided herein is accurate to the best of the presenter's ability at the time of the presentation. Some or all of the provisions mentioned herein could be changed by the current administration with or without prior notice. So our agenda today is to learn what is government contracting, how to determine if selling to the government is right for you, how to get started. Marketing to the government, where to find opportunities, and most of all is steps for success. As you see here, there's public works, there's janitorial, there's all kinds of supplies and materials, food products, and everything else the government buys or have professional services or contracting. The most common thing industry for government contracting is actually public works. You probably hear in the news all the time that the Biden administration has this infrastructure funding. This trickles down from the federal to the state and even the local cities and counties. There's also professional services. This could be part of the construction, or it could be part of any services, really. I just had a client who actually provided professional development services. So there's just endless opportunities in various categories. There's office supplies, janitorial, IT, medical. With the recent COVID, we did have a lot of purchases of medical supplies, the masks, and the sanitary things. Transportation logistics, fire suppression devices. Unfortunately, recently we did have a lot of fires throughout, and it's unfortunate, but there are a lot of services and supplies that they were purchasing. And most of all is defense. We are funded by the Department of Defense, so there's a lot of areas there. The less common industry is anything that's federally illegal, like cannabis. So it is legal in California, but nowhere else. Restaurants, bars, entertainment, holistic health, and luxury items. I know when I was working for VTA, we couldn't even purchase water and coffee whenever we're having an event. And, so we're getting to the point now, we're very mindful of the tax dollars and how they spend it. Okay, so in here, there is a lot of samples here. For example, the Pelican Bay State Prison. What do they buy? They buy clothing, couriers, electrical, beds, food. So this is just a sample of all the opportunities you can have from one agency. So how does the contracting structure work? Basically, you have the government agency. You can participate as a prime. And again, it depends on the project. For example, if it was public works or construction, if you want to participate on a multi-million-dollar project, normally you have to have a very high bonding capacity. So you may want to consider, like, if you're just starting out, participate as a sub and be part of the team. It gives you a lot of opportunity to learn about the projects, all the requirements, and to get your foot in the door. And one of the takeaways also for success and to determine if you're ready for government contracting, you have to be established business. If you have a business plan, that is a great start. If you don't, we also have a partner agency, the Small Business Development Center that can assist you with your business plan. Financial stability. And this is where, you know, you have to consider, do you have the capacity and resource? Because sometimes the government agency takes at least 30 to 45 days to pay. So if you're anticipating of getting your invoice processed, the government agency is a little bit different. So also keep that in mind. Fast performance. You know, past performance and experience really have a lot of weight. So that's something to consider. If you had contracts canceled, suspended, those will have an effect on your opportunities with government agencies. Market research, you know, this is something that you should really consider. You know, find out who your prospects are, who's buying what, who needs what items. So we can assist you with your market research. We can help you with all of that. E-commerce capable website. One of the first things I do review with a new client is to see, you know, are they registered? Are they certified? Do they have all the tools that they need? And one of those is having a website. If you don't have a presence online, you're missing out. Okay, how do we get started? Well, the biggest thing is, just like Amanda said, is apply for free, no cost assistance for APEX Accelerators. You know, it's one of the best things you can have. You can have one-on-one counseling for free. You can have bid matching for free. You can take any training, webinar, networking opportunities for free. And there's so much more. So that's the first thing. If you want to get started and you're just starting your business, apply. Identify your target agencies. You know, I can't say enough. Determine who your prospects are, right? And also identifying your category of work. The NIC codes, or the North American Industrial Classification, and also the United Nations Supply Products Codes will categorize the type of service that you provide. And we can help you determine what those are. We can help you search. You know, I always tell them, you know what, you don't want to be the jack of all trades and the master of none, right? So be careful about choosing which NIC codes apply to you. If you have experience and you have that category at work, yes, please list them. But if it's something that you're thinking about and you have never done business in that area, I would hold off. You know, don't do everything too much all at once. And as I mentioned earlier, we have really three categories of government contracting. There's local, which is the county, the cities, school districts, transportation agencies, and so on. We have the state, which is Cal e-Procure, is the marketplace. The state has over 250 plus agencies. Okay, who hasn't heard of the DMV, right? Or the California Highway Patrol? I just got a ticket, you know, it's like, okay. Or Caltrans. Caltrans is one of the largest departments. Anytime you're on the road, you could see their signage everywhere, right? So they are one of the 250 plus state agencies. And then there's the federal, which is a nationwide In order to do contracting with a federal, you must be registered with SAM. And when you register with SAM, you'll get a unique entity ID number and a cage code. This will provide you with access to some of the federal programs, like the Women-Owned Small Business, the 8A program, the Hub Zone, which is the historically underutilized business zone, and so many other things, like the disabled veteran also. So those are opportunities. And for the state, they have the small business micro, small business public works, and they also have the disabled veteran. Now for local, there's a lot of local business certification, small local business certification, small local emerging business, and so on. So those are the things that we can help you get started, because the key here is to get you ready to do government contracting. The Small Business Administration, once you're signed up with SAM, also provides access to a database where they can search your capability narrative, your keywords, and what different types of certification you have. And also, you know, if you are veteran-owned, women-owned, and so on. One of the first thing also that I've always asked the clients is, do you have a capability statement? Capability statement is also referred to as statement of qualifications. I kind of refer to it as a resume for your business. If you're looking for work, you normally have to have a resume, right? It tells you your experience, your skills, your education. Well, capability statement is very similar for your business. And make sure your website is government friendly. So if you're doing a branding, one of the things that you should consider is having your website and also your capability with the same branding. It makes it so seamless. When somebody's referring to it, you know, they can click on your website, they can click on your capability statement, they see the same wording, they see the same colors, the fonts. So that's just a point there, you know, for your branding of your business. Okay, size and socioeconomic certification. As I mentioned, there is various types of certification. There's local, state, and federal. The state has the small business public works, the small business micro, and also disabled veteran. The state has the small business disadvantaged business, women-owned, veteran-owned small business, historically underutilized. You have to have your business in a hub zone with at least 35% of your employees residing. The 8A program is like an 8-year program, but this is for more of the established small business, because you have to have a business for at least 2 years. The disadvantaged business enterprise is under the US DOT. It's mainly used for federal public works or projects. So if there's $1 of federal funds, any infrastructure project will have a DBE goal, or the contractor must meet good faith efforts. Local contracting, and as I mentioned earlier, there's so many opportunities out there. And if you are starting, I would highly recommend that you start with local contracting. Their procurement documents are less complex. They typically have less requirements than a state or federal. And it's a lot easier to get certified. It takes a lot less time to get your local business certification. And if you're signed up as a client, we can help you go through some local agency procurement websites and assist you with your small business registration. The first thing they'll ask you if you ever approach a local agency is, are you registered with our agency? If you say no, then you're probably not receiving any notification of contracting opportunities. Okay, so I highly suggest that you register. Capability statement. So capability statement, as I mentioned, is the recipe for your business. It's normally 1 page, no more than 2. You can actually create multiple versions, just like you would create a resume, depending on who you're submitting it to. We have a webinar on our website, how to write one. If you have a counselor you're working with, they will help you review it. It normally includes a brief paragraph about your capabilities, your core competencies, what makes you different from other businesses, key clients that you may want to highlight, past performance. Sometimes, you don't really need bios, but if there's something you really feel you must include, then you can go in and add a bio. But the codes and certifications, as I mentioned, the NIC codes and the UN SBSE code, and if you're certified small business, women-owned, put all of those in because that provides you with a lot of information. Working for government agency for 35 years, believe it or not, you only have like a minute or 2 to capture that contracting officer's mind, right? So if you can do that with your capability statement, it's more likely they'll remember you if there's contracting opportunities. Now, a lot of times is, this is your verbal pitch for your company. Now, you also have to practice. And no, this is a written pitch about your company, but you also have to practice your high pitch whenever you're approaching a government agency. Okay, normally it takes like 30, 35 minutes. You have to practice. This is what we do. This is who we're about. These are core competencies. These are our codes. These are our experience and skills. You have to be able to tell me within 30 to 45 seconds a little version of your capability statement. Okay. And a lot of times I always tell people, hey, you know what? You have a phone. Just take a video of yourself, practice, right? And find out how well you're doing. Here's a sample, a free template from our website. And here is contracting your website. Make sure it's updated with your contents. If you can, create a separate tabs for just the government and attach your capability statement, right? So if they're looking for you and they need specific things from you, they can just click on your capability statement and download it. Registrations, certifications, NIC codes, highlight the most recent projects. That is your best marketing, is actually your latest, most recent project. Past performance history, because they have to learn about your past performance. And that's something that government agency would look out for. Okay. And government contracts. Here's some of the examples. There's a company overview, current and previous contracts. This is a great way and good example. And always, if you can, learn more, read our capability statement, right? Because that's one of your best marketing. Okay. GSA, if you're a contract holder, you normally have to list all your NIC codes and, put some of your clients, right? If you work with a U.S. Army Corps, USDA, highlight those, those are good marketing tools. Okay, marketing to the government, right? Develop a marketing strategic plan, how you would like to target those agencies. We have a listing of all networking events online. So those are great opportunities. You can either do a hybrid, right, where you can participate online. And some cases now, especially, we're starting to open up. So you may see us out there and take a look at those. If you're available, it's the best way because you are actually in contact with the government agency representative. Okay, and it gives you an opportunity to also network with prime contractors and other small businesses. These are opportunities you can participate as a sub or opportunities when you can partner, establish relationships, attend expos, matchmakers, conferences, and later on toward the end, there's a couple of matchmaking events of Meet the Primes that we're going to be participating with Caltrans and participating in training. Those are great opportunities. And also we have a partner, Gavology.com. Normally there's a fee, but because you're a client of Norcal PTAC, it's free for you, right? So what a better way to learn than to participate in these on-demand or live webinars for free. Social media, LinkedIn, small business representatives, meet them. There's normally small business liaison officers. And also keep up to date with your dynamic small business search in the SBA website. Make sure you have your capability narrative, you have all your codes in there, because if you don't, how do you expect the government agencies to find you? Okay, so these are some of the links that we provided for you, and this presentation you can actually get a copy of. So in our Norcal, or now called APEX Accelerator, we have the local agency websites. So it has the counties, the cities, transportation agencies, and other. We also have, from time to time, provide you with notice from prime contractors looking for small businesses and disadvantaged business enterprise. Cal eProcure also have a listing of opportunities. Now, there's several ways you can look at it, and we can help you search for contracting opportunities. And also you can review some of the past purchases to find out what these agencies are buying. SAM also have contracting opportunities. And if you're a client of Norcal I said it again. If you're a client of APEX Accelerators, we can actually also set up your bid match so that you will receive notification from SAM contracting opportunities, any state, and sometimes also local agencies. Acquisition.gov is also a procurement forecast where you can find opportunities. One of the things too, if you are a contractor, and a lot of times is there's a building exchanges in every county. If you're signed up, receive those notices. But in addition, you can actually get assistance looking and reviewing specifications and plans from the builders exchange. And lastly, as I mentioned, APEX Accelerator has a bid match service that's free for you. Okay, here we go. So in summary, here are the 10 steps to success. Determine if you're ready for government contracting. Okay, as I mentioned, you have to have the capacity, resource, and also, consider that the government doesn't pay as quickly as commercial, right, or private. Apply for PTAC services, complete the getting started list on our website, get certified. There's so many advantages of getting certified because a lot of times they're set aside contracts. Another thing too is sometimes there's a small business preference, right? So even though your bid is high, you may win the contract because there may be a 5% small business preference. Create your capability statement. Like, if you're looking for a job and you don't have a resume, there's like a small chance, right? So have a resume for your business and create a capability statement. Update your website from time to time. Anytime you finish a project, put it in, advertise that, right? Network. I know sometimes it's very difficult as small business to network and build relationship. But in order for your business to grow, you must put time aside for networking. Locate bid opportunities, and if you don't succeed the first time, try again, because that is really the way you can learn to win contracts. Okay, and if you don't win a contract, one of the nice things about doing government contracting is you can request for debriefing. Ask them, what are my weaknesses? What are my strengths? Why did I win this contract? Learn from it, right? So the next time you'll be ready. So sign up for Norcal APEX. There's 8 counselors with approximately 34 years experience together. It's a great opportunity to learn and also, get your business ready for government contracting. So with that, I'm going to transfer it to Amanda. And again, thank you so much for participating today.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Liz. It's quite a dense presentation, but it is a very good overview of everything that it will take to get to a point of success in government contracting. And like she said, we are here to help you succeed at absolutely no cost. So even if it's not with Norcal APEX, make sure you check out your local APEX Accelerator Center. Get connected with the no-cost services that are available to you. So before we go into our questions, I do want to let you know about a couple of upcoming events that we have going on. Next Tuesday, we will be going into a certification overview specifically for veteran-owned businesses. There can be special set-aside contracts specifically for business who are certified as veteran-owned, and we want to show you how to get that certification and start qualifying for those set-asides. We will also be participating in a Caltrans event later this month. Liz will also be presenting for us there. They're doing a virtual Meet the Primes event for both construction and A&E services. So if you're looking to subcontract with some prime contractors, this is the perfect event for you. And then a little further out at the end of June, we are having a pretty large event, our NorCal Federal Small Business Professional Panel, where we'll have small business professionals from many government agencies sit down to answer your questions about how you can do business with their agencies. So it's absolutely a cannot miss for Northern California businesses. And with that, we can go ahead and go into our questions. We do have quite a few and plenty of time to answer them. The first one has been asked by a couple of folks, but Judith is wondering, how long would you recommend a business be existing and doing business before they jump into government contracting?
You know, I had some clients who actually started getting businesses after 3 months. So, you know, as long as you have a business plan, you know exactly what type of work you want to do with the government. I don't see any reason for any time frame. A lot of times it's people used to work for government agencies or the private sector, and now they're venturing into the government agencies. So some of the transitions are seamless, but you know, keep in mind all of the items in here of getting ready, getting certified, getting registered are some of the things you have to look into, whether you're ready or not. And I think by applying with Norcal, with APEX Accelerator or the Small Business Development Center is a great start.
Absolutely. And that's great to hear. I know that a lot of businesses come to us with a fantastic idea, but don't quite have their business set up and don't have all their licensing to do business. But once you get all that licensing and you have your focus, you have your goal, like please do apply for Norcal or APEX Accelerator services wherever you are. Because at that point, I know a couple of our procurement specialists really enjoy working with clients that are unique and have that very unique niche in government contracting. I know one of our procurement specialists is working with a company who sells lemonade. And typically, like we discussed, food services and stuff like that isn't very common, but school districts need to supply vending machines and bottles of lemonade. So they were able to find contracts. It's just about finding that niche. I do have another question from Sandra about the website. It seems like she's working on a Shopify, so e-commerce website so that people can buy the items. And she's wondering if they should have a government tab on that site or if they should have a separate site for government contracting.
Some of the clients that I've seen and reviewed their website, normally they would just have a government tab.
Okay.
Because it's easier to search and, you know, people are not confused. Are these two separate entities and so on?
Yeah.
But again, you know, those are some of the marketing strategic considerations that you have to do.
And I think that also depends heavily on what government agencies you're looking to target as well.
Exactly.
Fantastic. And then to answer the other part of your questions, NorCal procurement specialists don't help with building out a website, but they can look over a built website and give you critique and tips and pointers on how the government agencies and the procurement officers in those agencies will be viewing your website. So they can offer very valuable insight there. And then we have a question. Albert is asking if you think the Meet the Primes events with Caltrans would be useful for any kind of other industries, like maybe IT. And I don't quite think that's the focus.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, you know, but because there's representative from various primes and Caltrans departments, it may be a great way to ask and inquire, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm sure they can point you to the right direction, especially now, there's a lot of IT. I know when I was working with BTA, we had CCTVs, we had IT computer software, keeping track of fast track and so on. So you just never know what opportunities there are and what great opportunities to talk to subject matter experts, right?
Absolutely. And going to events such as the Meet the Primes event is a great way to connect with agency representatives and get yourself on their radar. Though I do believe these events, so Meet the Primes, will be mostly breakout sessions with prime construction contractors. So that portion may not be quite as useful for you.
Yes.
Fantastic. And then we had another question from Albert, and he's asking if past performance with Oregon State Transit would still count as past performance in like another state, say California or Nevada.
I don't think there's any past performance is past performance. I don't think it's by state, where it would not apply in any other state.
Yeah, so it's not bound by state borderlines.
Yeah.
If you have past performance, even if you just have, I believe, public sales can
Mhm.
also count as past performance. So past performance is past performance, like Liz said. Fantastic. And then we do have a couple more questions. I'm just sifting through a few of them. We will get the PowerPoint and the recording of the presentation to everyone who registered and attended today. So that will be in your inbox, hopefully by the end of the week, if not early Monday. And then we had a question about the 8A program, if you wouldn't mind giving a little information on this. How long does it take to get that certification for 8A? I know it's an 8-year program, but do you have to go through all 8 years to get that certification?
I'm probably not the best person for the 8A program, but I believe that in order to be accepted, it takes a while, right?
Mhm.
And because there's a review that must be taken care of. And once you're in the program, you have 8 years. And normally also you can be assigned a mentor to help and assist you with contracting. But it does require that you have experience, and it does require a lot of other things. But the best way to look at it is, in our website, you can go into the tab, the resource tab, and there's a federal certification. Click on the 8A program. And if you want to apply for it, sign up with APEX Accelerator, and our counselors can walk you through the whole process. Okay? So
Absolutely.
I think that's the best way.
And I will also go ahead and drop a link in chat for a bit more information from the Small Business Administration, which is the certification agency for the 8A certification. So you can read a lot more about the 8A program and all of that on that link in chat.
Oh, just a little note. We just had a new counselor. His name is Paul Trevina, and he is an expert on the 8A program. He actually worked for the SBA for many, many years. So
yeah. So if
he's
you are
great.
looking to get that certification, we have the perfect counselor in mind.
Yes.
Fantastic. And then we have Melanie, who's asking, where can we go for licensing and certifications? I don't believe there's a overarching place that you can go to get all of the certifications or all of the licensing you would need, but they have separate websites for like the 8A program. And I do believe like DBE has its own site as well, right, Liz?
Yes. The best way is actually meeting with a counselor, and they can determine which ones you may be eligible for, and then review and consider applying for it. You know, a lot of times when I'm working with a client, they want to work on construction, public works with federal program. As I mentioned, it may have a DBE goal, and collecting the documentation for that certification is pretty daunting. There's so many documents that they're requesting, but some of those documents you can use for women-owned small business. So you may already be there and qualify for both certifications, but the best way is actually work with a counselor, determine your eligibility requirements, and, you know, figure out and decide where you want to pursue that or not. And we can walk you through the whole process.
Absolutely. And then we do have one last question in the Q&A. If you have any more questions, please enter them into the Q&A section now. We do have about 5 minutes left, so we're going to try and get as many questions answered as possible. Someone wants to know if there's opportunities for moving companies in government contracting. Do government agencies move offices?
Yes, all the time. Well, just recently, you know, our local school district wanted to merge some of the schools, right? So they sold off the building and they had to move some of the teachers, the classes. So it could be anything. It could be also any agency. Right now is a great transition, right? A lot of times you may have a hybrid working, or they're just trying to merge and make it smaller and leaner offices. So you never know. There's opportunities out there, and the best way is to start, you know, registering for different agencies, so that if your keyword is moving services, anytime an agency need that, you'll be automatically notified via email.
Awesome. And then we do have another question from Richard, who's asking about what kind of advantage a business would have if they have a certification like DVBE. What kind of advantages do certifications give these businesses?
Well, one of the things is set aside. A set aside means that the contract is only offered for a veteran, right? Because those are some of the advantages of the program, is set aside for small business, set aside for women-owned, set aside for disabled veteran. So I think that's one of the best things.
Absolutely. The set-asides are so crucial. And the sad part is most government agencies don't meet their set-aside goal because they don't have businesses apply that have those certifications. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. In fact, we're often asked, you know, we have this program, it's set aside, and we can't find anybody. Can you share it with your clients? So it's a great opportunity. Again, if you meet those eligibility requirements for that certification, take advantage. There's a huge benefit for you and your business.
Absolutely. And then we'll go ahead and answer one more question. And it's a question about, would you recommend looking into third parties or consulting services for, like, say, an 8A certification or application?
You know, this is one of the things I ran into yesterday when I was speaking to one of my new clients. A third party's asked me $1,000 to register with SAM. A third party wants to charge me $2,500 for DBE certification. A third party wants me to help with marketing, right? If you have a lot of money, go ahead. If you think that's going to be useful, go ahead. But why pay somebody when you can get all of those services for free? All right. And ask them, how many years of experience with government contracting do you have? Right? As I mentioned, we have 8 counselors with approximately 34 years experience. Working for Santa Clara VTA, working for BART, with the County of Alameda. You know, there's so many contracts that I had participated in. One of the biggest contract I had was the BART to San Jose. It was a contract that was worth $790 million. And as a business diversity manager, I helped manage that. So it took us over a year putting together the contracting documents. It took us another 6 to 9 months selecting the prime. So those are the experience that we bring in. But again, a lot of times is small business doesn't have the time or the resource to do it. But one of the things I ask the client is, why would you give your financial information to a third party to register with SAM? So every single time you need to make a modification, like adding your code, you have to pay that third party to access your own account, right? So, you know, those are decisions you have to make. I cannot make it for you, but you know, those are things that you should consider, right? So
Absolutely.
hopefully that helped. And
The risk versus reward kind of decision, and that's something that only you can decide on.
exactly.
But with that, we will go ahead and wrap up this presentation. I do see that it is time, and I know me and Liz have a few appointments after this. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning. I hope you found this event and this webinar very useful. Again, you will be getting the slides and recording of this webinar directly to your email, so keep an eye out on that. And if you have a moment after we log out of this event, you will be redirected to a feedback survey. We always love to get a feedback on our events and webinars because we want to keep improving and keep making sure that we are addressing what you want to see and the kind of assistance you want. So your feedback is invaluable on that front. And with that, I hope everyone here has a fantastic day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing from you guys.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.